It was a GarageCon weekend. That means I filled in some runs and I stumbled across some really cool 90s gimmick covers. Check it out. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Chris and this is Northgarden Comics. Today we're going on one of my comic book adventures, and that's where I show you the good books I get for great prices at different shows and sales and conventions that I attend. Today that means GarageCon. What's GarageCon? That is a local show put on by a local vendor, usually in between other shows, or in this case in the absence of other shows. They will open up one of their homes, their garage, fill it with about 100 long boxes of comics and charge you $1 a book. Everything is bagged and boarded, mostly modern things. Now I'll say it's not the kind of place you go to find significant keys, but it is a place to fill in runs, build out those runs, and sometimes stumble across things you didn't even know you were looking for. And I've got a little bit of both today, so let's zoom in and get a closer look. Okay, first up here is a title called A+X. This was a limited series. I think it ran for like 18 issues. Each book was a standalone 2 stories where it just paired up one Avenger, one X-Man, and told you a story about them. And I am not trying to collect all 18. There's just a few of them where either I like the creative team or I like the team up, and so I wanted to get them. And this number 4 is one such example of a character team up. Really like the idea of Beast and Spider-Man teaming up, two kind of sciencey brainiacs and funny, so thought that'd be a cool story. And then there's also a backup story here with Captain America and Quentin Quire. So got that one again, and ignore any price tags you see because everything was $1. I've mentioned in other videos that I am working on the Romita Jr. run from Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2 that he did with Straczynski, and there was just this one issue that I needed. I still need others, but there was just that one that day. Shifting over to some Daredevil. This is Volume 2 of Daredevil. I think the volume ran for 100 some odd issues. I am particularly interested in getting the Brian Michael Bendis run, which I believe started in issue like 16 or 17 and ran all the way up until like issue 81. And Maleev, Alex Maleev, does the art for, I think, the vast majority of that. And there were a couple issues that I needed towards the lower end. So these were the lowest numbers I guess I still needed. 26. And 27. And typically what I'll do is maybe I'll put the whole run on my wish list. I use the CLZ collector app. Sometimes I'll put the entire run on there. Sometimes, because there's so many things I want, that I won't just buy random issues. I may put the next 5 or 10 issues in the run that I want to get. I'll get those first and then shift to the next ones so that I'm not buying completely random books. And because a lot of these runs I'm trying to fill in, you can find the books for $1 or so, and you got to make choices. So I try to approach it one way. So I got 26 and 27. Excalibur, this is another volume. I'm trying to put together the whole thing, collected as a kid, but only ever had like the first 30 issues, so I've been trying to build that out. And I will hold out for good copies too. If you've watched any of my other videos, you hear me say this probably more often than you want, but a lot of these books you can find cheap, but you'll see that you get some, off color there, or in the box end of the corner, or it's just in some worse wear. And so I'll hold out. I'll be a stickler and find those really good crisp white, not banged up copies. So today we got that one, got 48. And that was it for Excalibur. And again, just working my way through that volume. And that's one where I will buy just about anywhere in the volume, because more often than not I find copies, but they're not in great condition, so I'll buy the good ones when I can. Secret Invasion, this was the X-Men miniseries, 4-part spin-off series from that, or tie-in series I should say. And I got a Terry Dodson cover here. Number 3. I had numbers 1 and 2 that I probably got at a previous GarageCon, and then picked up 3 and 4. And that's another one too where I wasn't looking for it originally, but you see it and then the cover grabs your attention and the colors, and then you're like, well, I love the X-Men too, so why not? Here's one of the actual, it's just another run that I'm working on. Uncanny X-Force. I was drawn to this primarily for the creative team, but then also because the characters are fantastic. There was one story, the Dark Angel Saga, that happened in kind of issue 11 or 12 up to like issue 17, that I had read about and wanted to read. Started with that, and then as I saw more covers and saw the creative team, I said, oh, what the heck, let's just go for all 35 issues. So I don't have nearly all of them yet, but I was able to pick up the next few in this run here. So you got an issue 5.1, 6, and I like Isai's Ribic art a lot too. 8. They didn't have 7, so that's one hole I still need. 9, and I think 10 was the last one that I got that day. All right, Ultimate X-Men, another volume that I'm working on, bite by bite. There's 100 issues in this volume, and I'm actually in like the 45 to 55 kind of a range. He did have some of the ones from that 45 to 50 kind of numbering, but again, they weren't in tip-top condition, so I passed over them, and I got a couple because they're close to that window I'm collecting, but I really like Stuart, is it Immonen that you say his name? I really like his style too. So got number 54. And 55. And now we shift over. You heard me say at the beginning some of those gimmicky covers that, you know, I highlighted the 90s, and I think that may be where they were most popular, but of course Ultimate Iron Man was not in the 90s, so it extends beyond that. But from a nostalgia standpoint, I've always been attracted to covers like this. And Ultimate Iron Man is not a series I'm collecting, but like I said, you stumble across some of these things and you pick them up. So let me move these so I can start to show you these one at a time. I won't spoil what's behind it, but then I can show you. See, you get the rainbow effect in the metal, and sorry for the glare from the light there, but I thought that was a cool cover, so I picked that up. And I'm not intending to go any further in the run right now. I've seen this book a couple times in the last week or so, actually. And yeah, I love the webbing in the back there. When I was a kid, we referred to, and I'm an 80s kid, but we referred to that kind of reflective metallic look as space tape. And I think there was an original tape back when kids had sticker books and puffy stickers and scratch and sniff stickers and things. We would call that kind of prismatic metallic reflective kind of a illusion as a space tape. And then these next three are actually ones I was not looking for. I have seen the regular covers, and I didn't even know there was a variant for these that had that metallic-y, gimmicky look, but these are from the first volume of Fantastic Four. Here's number 398, and I think it calls it like a rainbow prism or rainbow metallic cover, and you get that rainbow effect in that. Super cool with the Watcher on the cover. I think the Watcher's on the regular cover too, but this has got that metallic look to it. But there was 398, and then it continued 399, and then 400, and that's all metallic. Again, these little shows like GarageCon, I will go, and there are things I've got on my wish list. These were not on my wish list, but sometimes, like I said, you stumble across things you weren't looking for, and for $1 a piece, you can't beat it. Just fun things to add to the collection. Now, that is all the books that I got at GarageCon, but then it got me to thinking, maybe there's some other books in my collection that would be cool to show that follow that theme of, you know, gimmicky, metallic-y, or some other type of cool-looking gimmick cover that, I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for, right? And especially the kind of prices I look to buy books at, like $1, $2, it's hard to go wrong with those. And like I said, they're just really fun to add to your collection. So I got a chunk of books I just thought it'd be fun to show you here. Here's Transformers. This is Generation 2. Marvel still had the license at the time. And they tried to make it more intense, tougher, probably more violent. And you can see he's got, I don't know if this looks like that stuff busting out of his head, but they almost look like shells going in. But this is not your father's Autobot, but you've got Optimus Prime, and of course his faceplate, very famous and very reflective on this cover, like that one. Here's a Robin issue. And actually, let me move these again, because then I won't spoil what's behind it. So here's a Robin, nice hologram. Okay. Silver Sable with a silver cover, little on the nose, but appropriately so. Here's a Ghost Rider 2099. You can really see the rainbow metallic effect on this one. This is a Chris Bacalo cover, and I bought it precisely for that. I'm trying to put together a library of all of his cover art. Here's one that's not metallic, but it's still one of those gimmicky covers. You know, this one I could go either way. It works, it doesn't work. It's that complete whiteout effect of Human Torch on this Fantastic Four number 371, but still very cool. And you find that white, all white cover for $1 at a show, and very tempting to get when it's maintained in good condition like that. Keeping with Fantastic Four, I love this one. Just love how the characters really pop with that metallic metal behind them. Super great. And I gotta keep moving here because I'm kind of watching this as I'm filming it, and you just kind of get caught up in looking at the prism effect there. Here's a little bit more subtle effect. Back to the 90s. Here's Bishop. It was a mini series, but you can see the metallic effect is done here in these kind of energy lines and things like that, and in the title itself. But they did that in each of his 4 covers. That's, you know, that's very subtle just in the actual title itself there. Here's a little more with some red, number 3. And then the blue in number 4, and you can see it in Gambit's kind of headgear there. I don't know if that's coming through well. Oh, there it was good, a little reflection of it. You can see the metallic there. Keeping with Gambit, here's the Gambit miniseries number 1, that nice gold effect. I would love to be able to show you the all gold cover, but I don't own it. So that's one that's still on my wish list to have someday. And then some of these I did take out of the bag so that I could show you the full cover. Some of them have wraparound covers. This is Sabretooth in the Red Zone, and that's got a very cool cover. You got Angel, Jean Grey, Sabretooth on the front, but then if you flip it over, you got some Iceman, Beast, and Cyclops action. And these, the actual, you can't even call it paper, because it's got that fully metallic reflective inside, which then gives you the nice color effect on the outside. Very cool though. Gimmicky covers like that were not limited to the 90s, right? It came into the 2000s. We already saw one example of that, but 2014, here's Death of Wolverine, where they pulled in some of that effect on the covers there. So there's number 1. And they did this on all 4 Death of Wolverine covers. Number 2. Cool effect with the eyes in the background there. And his shirt. This cool effect with the sword here on number 3. And then, very kind of cool, eerie cover. Number 4, Death of Wolverine. All right, going back to the 90s again. Here we have little Alan Davis, Clandestine. Nice reflective there. And then Excalibur, number 75. And I did notice, you know, a lot of these kind of milestone issues, 25, 50, 75, 100, those kind of things, were definitely much more likely candidates for some type of treatment on the cover. Here's one that I've always thought was cool. I'm not going to be able to show the full effect in this video, but Daredevil, this is the first volume, number 321, part of the Fall from Grace story. All of this white on here, including his costume and the radar, that is all glow in the dark. And it does, in fact, glow in the dark. And I've always loved that cover. Another one, non-metallic, but still cool. This is Wolverine, technically volume 2, but from his first ongoing series. This is number 50. This looks like a, you know, the Weapon X file, right? It looks like he's clawed into it, and the cover actually lifts off, so these are actual tears through the cover. Pretty cool. We've got an older Image book. We got the Wildcats trilogy, which is kind of cool fact. Does it have a wraparound? No, just an ad on the back, but still, that's a nice metallic look on this Wildcats trilogy, number 1. Back over to some X-Men here, and I didn't check to see if these were all at the, you know, really close to the same time, or if it was just something they decided to do for a while. But that Spectacular Spider-Man I showed you earlier, the Excalibur, the Fantastic Four, what was it, 375, this Uncanny X-Men 300, they all have that very similar effect where they've got the logo in the background that's reflective on the metallic backdrop, and then the characters kind of popping off there. John Romita Jr. cover. This is a cool, another wraparound one. Uncanny X-Men number 350. Gambit's eyes. Super intense. Love that. Like I said, mesmerizing even as I'm watching this. And the energy coming off of his cards. And then we flip it over. And you get the same thing with the cards there. Cool stuff. X Factor number 100 got the red metallic treatment. That was reflecting as well. And then sometimes they would do it too, not just for those kind of milestone issues, but X-Men did it in some of these crossover stories. So there was the Phalanx Covenant story, and there were these. These were variants because you could get, and maybe it was a first printing, second printing differentiation. I'd have to look actually, but I think some of them had this metallic background, but I don't remember if it was a second printing issue or if it was like a direct versus newsstand or what the differentiator was, but some of them just have a non-metallic just color band down the back there. I should have pulled one out. I do have one where I have an example of both variants, but these are the metallic covers there. Then another way they did that, in the Fatal Attractions crossover series, we had a nice series of holograms. I recently read something where people were kind of hating on the holograms, but I think at least mine came out nice. There's Cable there, if you can see that. And then, let's put that up here. You got Havoc. Nice 3D look to those holograms. Magneto, very cool. And what do we got here? This famous issue where Magneto tears the adamantium from Wolverine's body. It's one of those things where you wonder, gosh, why did it take until the 1990s to figure that one out? That's cool. I can't quite make out what that one is. Oh, it's Gambit. Is it Gambit? Is that one of his cards there? Oh yeah, now I can see. There is his head, there's his hand, there's the card. Okay, took me a second there to get oriented. Now I got it. All right, now just a few more to go. I saved some of my favorites for last. We had Silver Sable before, but Silver Surfer also got the metallic treatment. Again, very on the nose, but appropriately so, because he is the Silver Surfer. Nice prismy cover there. So he got that treatment on issue 50, issue 75, and then issue 100. And I don't know that was the only ones he got it on, but those are the ones that I have. And on the back you got Mephisto. No more metallic. It's like he's in it looks like a crystal ball, but he's watching him there. So Silver Surfer got those. And then we'll end with just a few more X-Men's. These are all from the Age of Apocalypse. This is just a minor treatment. X-Universe, one of the tie-in stories. Age of Apocalypse just got that treatment on the title and the letterbox up there. The red is cool. And then these last three are some of my favorites. You've got X-Men, and these are not in chronological order, but you've got X-Men Omega. So this was the last kind of special story issue from the Age of Apocalypse. Wraparound cover. This is John Romita Jr. And again, this is one where I've got that all metallic inside there. But that's a very cool one, I thought. And then another one here is X-Men Prime. Another wraparound. I think this was like the first, like a special edition that kicked off after the Age of Apocalypse ended. I don't remember exactly. And last, and certainly not least, probably one of my favorites, just because Age of Apocalypse is definitely one of those kind of anchors in my memory for favorite X-Men stories. This was really in the heyday of when I was reading and collecting, and there were like 10 X-Men titles at the time. I was in college, and I was still, any little money that I had as a poor college student, I was spending on comic books. So we got X-Men Alpha. Love that Wolverine where he's lost his hand. This is a Joe Madureira cover. You got Blink, Magneto, and Rogue in the background there. Quicksilver. I'm not going to name everybody. Super cool. I loved it when Sabretooth was one of the good guys for a while there. Of course, Apocalypse looming in the background. And yeah, so super, super cool, awesome 90s gimmick covers. All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this comic book adventure, showing you the books I picked up at this most recent GarageCon, as well as highlighting some of the fun gimmick covers from my collection. Are you a fan of a certain type of gimmick cover? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Also, fan of all things 80s? Check out this video where I do a short box showcase and highlight all the books in my Marvel Transformers collection. With that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.